Well, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Let the Truth Be Told. I'm so thankful and honored to be here once again in front of the studio cameras inside of your homes, viewing this Let the Truth Be Told program. I thank the Lord for Jason and Urbana City Council and UPTV for allowing us another opportunity to be in front of the cameras. And once again, big shouts out to Miss Patricia Avery, who was on our last program. We really had a lot of great feedback and a lot of great conversation around our topic on last segment. I thank the Lord for the people that have paved the way for me, my mom, Miss Rolene, and my brother Joe, and so many others, my sisters, and so many other people throughout the community, community leaders that have developed me into doing and being the person that I am today. So I thank the Lord for everybody that has helped me along the way and helped me keep my crooked place a little bit more straighter in my life. Today's topic, was just struggling trying to get this program together today and getting in my mind centered around some of the issues that's going on with our community and some of the more up-to-date stuff that's going on. And we're seeing it throughout our communities, a lot of violence that's going on right here locally within our Champaign-Urbana community. And a lot of the disparities, a lot of the violence, a lot of the mental illness, a lot of the things that's showing its face up, not just in this community, but around the country. It's violence. I was reading an article before I left my office to come over, and just reading an article about a mom that killed some kids in North Carolina. Just such a tragical situation. And what I wanted to entitle this program was "Hurt People Hurting Other People," and some of the community leaders have heard me say this many times in many community meetings. Is that what we're seeing is hurt people hurting other people, just doing each other wrong. And so I had wrote down that back in the day, I always like to thrive off back in the day. And back in the day, because our seniors taught us a lot and things that we can use in our lives. And back in the day, we would say, man, that was cold-blooded. Man, they treated the person cold. And in reference to that, cold was a word that was referenced, that was used when somebody was treated badly, somebody was treated unfair. And so, the people back in the day, my foreparents back in the day, our foreparents back in the day, they weren't used to that type of behavior. They weren't used to people treating them bad and unfair, within our own community. That was a safe haven within our own community, our block. We took care of our block. We took care of the people that were on our block. I remember, some of the things that happened in our community back then. A neighbor down the street could say you did something wrong and somebody was going to be at you. That neighbor might give you a spanking and scold you. And then you could not go home and tell fast enough what you did. And we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have internet, we didn't have any of those things. But the word be done got down the street that you did something wrong, and somebody along that whole travel to the house would check you about it. And those are some of the things that's missing in today's society. And so I remember I couldn't tell my mom that Miss Owens said something about me, and she'll say, so what you saying is Miss Owens, you ain't calling Miss Owens a lie, are you? And then you just freeze up because you couldn't say the word lie, And so those were some of the things that were implanted in us to make us stay on the right path. We always knew somebody was watching. Somebody was watching. So we wasn't allowing ourselves to be hurt. And they were looking out for you so you wouldn't get hurt, so that you wouldn't be scarred by some of the things that are poured into you in today's society to develop hurt people. One of the things that, and I always like to go back to a scripture. And so one of the scriptures that I was able to pull up when I was laying in the bed and I was thinking about this program today. And one of the scriptures that I had thought of was this King James version of it right here. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I'll hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and will heal their land. And that's talking about healing. I mean, that's talking about hurt people, just humbling yourself, thinking, referencing back to you and humbling yourself and seeking God's face, praying about the situation that you're going into and really wanting to change, really want some really want some relief from the things that's going on with you and your life and your loved ones and caring about them, you know, caring about your loved ones. You know, since the summer of this past year, you know, there have been more than 60 to 100 shootings that have happened in Champaign County, just in our local area, just in our local area. You know, many have died due to the hands of the gun violence. Many have just got shot. And like our last program, we talked about, you know, just the amount of being able to find the people that even committed these crimes, or even people being able to come forward and say that this person did something violent to me without being scared of repercussions behind it. So, you know, I mean, just so many things that go into play with this. You know, just being at some of those community forums on this past week alone to talk about how do we help out with this gun violence? What can we do to assist some of these people that are out in the community? How can we stop this gun violence? You know, and just brainstorm as leaders, just brainstorming. You know, a lot of our African American leaders have not been on camera, you know, through media, but we have been in pockets meeting and talking about what's going on throughout the community. And so, you know, and I broke it back down to them: hurt people hurting other people. You know, people that have grew up without a dad, grew up without a mom, you know, grew up without economics, prosperity, you know, grew up with a lack of education, you know, and it's generations of hurt people that haven't been healed, hurting other people, you know. And so not giving an excuse at all, but trying to identify it. You know, where is this coming from? But it's around the country. It's happening everywhere. It's not just Champaign-Urbana. You know, when I look at some of our young people, you know, and it's written all over your face that you're hurt, you know. And so I'm saying to myself, you know, what's going on with this young person? You know, where does it stem from? But then when you do your research and you find out that they came from some other hurting people. You know, I was looking at this video that was on there about funerals and things that was going on. Actually, it was, and keeping it 100 and real with you across the board, I was looking at something. It was called Ghetto Funerals, and it was actually a baby's funeral. And I watched. It was a brawl. It was a fight. It was a fight that went on at the funeral home there. And I was looking at it, and the story that the reporter reported on, and it was a foster parent, white foster parent, that was raising the baby while the mom and the family was going through whatever issues they were going through. And a brawl broke out about who was responsible for this baby's death. And so, but the reporter, I remember sticking with me, the reporter said that this family had been rid with violence for years. So it's generations of violence that just been going on, and that behavior's been taught. Now it's a baby that have tragically got injured because of some of this violence, because of some of this violent behavior, which was so sad, you know. And we're bringing up folks without being healed. One of the things I talked about in the community meeting is about some healing, about what resources do we have throughout this community that can help heal people that have been hurt. You know, I mean, hurt by whatever might have happened in your life. You know, it's hard sometimes to move forward after divorce. It's hard sometimes to move on after, you know, for a son or a daughter going through that type of situation. You know, it's hard to move on. You know, when I knew somebody that didn't get a contract, maybe into the NBA, or somebody that might not got a contract, you know, just going to college, you know, getting a scholarship, you know, and that hurt them, you know. I knew people that didn't get a chance and opportunity to go to the military, and that guy, he was hurt. You know, it's so many reasons why we're hurt. You know, mad about the past, mad at parents about the way you were brought up, you know, mad because, you know, it could be a variety of different reasons why we have hurts built up into us. But the main thing is to get some healing. And so we need resources, but you got to say, I'm hurt. Nobody's a mind reader, as my mom used to say. I'm not a mind reader. You got to tell somebody that you're hurt before the violence. You know, a lot of times we wait until situations happen, and then our judicial system will incarcerate a person after the violence. But then we don't have the resources to even treat the people once they get incarcerated. So that's continual violence. And they're going to continue that behavior, and it's going to increase. Then one day they're going to get back on the streets without seeking any other help, and it hurts someone else. And which is a sad society in which we live in. You know, it frustrates me and it frustrates others to try to come up with solutions for such acts of violence that's happening through the community. And it's hurting us through even when it's like I've talked about before, the loss of even close friends of ours that have passed away through violence, nonsense, you know, through nonsense, you know. As I continue to go on, it was I was in my office again, and I do a lot of sitting back and chilling and thinking, and that's a great space for me to just sit back and try to get some stuff together. But I also listen to some music and things of that nature. And one of the songs that I was listening to earlier was said, "He saw the best of me," and we want to see the best of each other. And back in the day when I talk about our seniors and the people that paved the way for us, they wanted to see us go off and graduate and go to college, be the first one in your family to go to college, be the first one to maybe start a career out, be the first one to open a business, you know. And so many times, you know, we just got in the 21st century that we so full of hurt that we don't want to see nobody create or do any of those first step moments, you know, those celebrational moments like that. You know, I mean, we'll pull you down. We'll talk about you. You know, I remember talking to someone, and when guys come back from prison, you know, we throw them a party. But when guys get ready to go to college, we hardly do anything. You know, and it's so opposite. Where right is seeming wrong and wrong is seeming right. You know, I mean, to even condone such behavior, you know, we need to start celebrating everything that's going right for us, so that the young people, that you are what you see. You are what your environment is, and the people that's around your environment. And it's so hard to try to break out of that cycle, to bust out that cycle and do you. You know, a lot of times our young people say, "I'm trying to do me." Well, do me got to be right, because it ain't no wrong way to do right. You just got to do right. And sometimes it comes with sacrifice and hard work. You know, blood, sweat, and tears is what I call it. Sometimes you just got to put it in. And so you might have to go back and snatch what the devil done took from you, some education. You know, you might have to go snatch that back. It might be just you just going back out to find out who you are. You know, I mean, and then it might be a spiritual encounter that you got to do. Maybe go listen to somebody that can give it to you in a biblical sense, where you can start to understand it. And you can see what God has created you to be. Because we all got a purpose. Just a lot of us ain't showing up. You know, it reminds me of a community meeting I went to on this past week, and it was Sunday. And it was the mayoral candidates. We got mayoral candidates that are running for mayor. And we got city school board members that are running for school board or to be reelected on school board. And so we had it at the Douglas Center, the Douglas Center Park. in the main gymnasium. And when I got down there, a lot of people were there. I talked to the mayor, and then talked to Karen Foster, and I seen Deb, and I seen Joe Petrie, and those are some of the mayoral people that's running for mayor. And I was able to speak with a few of those people during the outbreak. But I'm thinking to myself, you know, as I look at some of the same old people that help try to heal our community, you know, my man Byron Clark, my man Aaron Ammons, Martell Miller, you know, so many different others that's out there, Patricia Avery, you know, so many different other people that try to help and assist on healing our community. And I looked at, you know, I thank the Lord for Pastor Johnson being there, one of the only pastors that were there, you know, but I just shook my head in disbelief and sadness, because so many times we're not showing up to the issues that evolve right around us, right around the things that center us, that got something to do with us and the people that we supposedly love and our futures. I mean, the mayor has a great influence on our future, you know, and the voting process of that, you know, it's being able to select somebody, you know, the things that we have just celebrated, which are coming off of Black History Month, to be able to celebrate the opportunity to vote, to have a voice, to be able to say something. I like this person. I don't like that person. I like this person's views and opinions. Don't like that person. I don't like his policies. Don't like her policies. We can make a choice, but we refuse to make the choice. And that type of neglect has gotten us to the place where hurt people hurting people. Because not everybody got your best interest at heart. Sometimes we follow in different paths. And so many times, so many different leaders are following different paths away from where you need the assistance at. You might need some assistance of relief through some type of organization or some type of program, which is about to get cut by Governor Rauner. But it might be supported by one of the mayoral candidates, and you might have an opportunity to at least get out and say something. Or when the governor was here, at least getting out to say something. We got to stop being on the couch. A lot of times we chunk bricks at the TV because we're on the couch. Show up, because it saddens me, with so many different things on my agenda and on my plate. But just to take 15 or 20 or 30 minutes out to be and address an issue, to go out and visit and see what's going on throughout this community and how can you be a part. And if you do out there want to be a part of some of these things, these positive things that's going on to help heal our community, I advise you to call the city, Champaign City building and talk to one of the administrators there and get hooked up with the Community Coalition. They have a bunch of different groups that need your participation. And so, and it's a great group of people from all over the city. A great group of men and women from all over the city, all walks of life, with great resources. But you cannot get the help if we don't know where the resources are at. So we got to get out there and seek the resources, and we got to be able to spread those resources a little bit more better than what we have in the past. And so, as I'm in business and so many others are in business, and even just trying to create more business for each other, and just to hurt people of hurting other people, being able to shop, with each other, it comes, where a lot of times we focus in on not keeping our dollars locally or not shopping with people that's in the community, while we watch other people come in our community. And what my words is, even on my papers, blow up in our own community, off the backs of us, the sweat and the tears, the blood, sweat, and the tears, the 40 hours a week that you put in, the 60 hours a week that you put in, that's not getting circulated right back in our community. Not right back in our community. I remember a statistic that the Urban League, when we had the Urban League, which was a great resource to this community, and I will continuously say that. Tracy did a great job over there at the Urban League. Dr. P did a great job at the Urban League, and because their hearts were pure in it. And we miss you. We miss the Urban League. We miss a participation from the Urban League and some of the people that was there. So we miss that. But I remember just having that Urban League, and I remember all those resources that were available. So many different resources through that. And they gave us statistics. Tracy and them gave us a statistic that said we spent within this community maybe $3 million. This was like in late 90s. We spent like $3 million, maybe even more within the community, but none of that community dollars got circulated back in within the community. So, and that was just African-American community spending those type of dollars. Well, now coming up to 2015, that's probably tripled. But we're still not circulating the dollars. And when I mean circulating is that you shop with me, then I go down to the Seaboat and I shop with them. The Seaboat takes the money, and then he goes out to maybe shop with Andy. Then Andy, he passes the dollar around to some of the workers that work for him. Then they might go down there and spend some money with somebody else that's African American, and then it's just a rotating effect of how those dollars recirculate around our community. But if I get my 40-hour week, 50-hour week, 60-hour week check, and it goes straight out the community, or I go to another community, it's been hurting us. It hasn't been helping us. So I want you to ponder that. I want you to think about that, and not just a few seconds, but think about that for a few days, because those are the things that's hurting our community. Because in order to get resources in our community, it takes dollars. In order to heal some of the brokenness that have happened over a long period of time. I call it a time period of neglect. through our community, whether whoever the leaders were back then, whoever the players were. It wasn't in a lot of our best interest leading up to 2015 and going into 2016, And so, we have so many different issues that's going on, so many different issues. A lot of it is, Amir and Armani talked about it in another meeting on yesterday, was a lot of this is geared toward being mentally abused. It's a mental health issue that's going on with a lot of people, because when you don't visit a hurt, and it becomes day after day you're still hurt, and then you go on and something else hurts you and something else hurts you, and it's compound hurts. Now you're this frustrated, you're this bitter, you're this angry person, and we got a bunch of them. So don't act like we ain't got a bunch of them. We got a bunch of them. That's hurt, that's anger, that's bitter. I got them in my family. You got them in your family. But a lot of times it's not like back in the day we had Big Mama's house, where Big Mama could sit down and tell you everything to put some fat on your head. We don't have a lot of that anymore. We don't have that place where everybody kind of got together and showed each other love, and you shared a little bit with each other, and then somebody said something more positive to make you have a better outcome the next time that you went through a situation, or make you start feeling better about yourself, to build you back up. So a lot of times we working off what we think. We ain't went to no scripture. We ain't went to ask no spiritual advisor. We haven't went to a community organization or assistance program and asked them anything. We haven't went to drug rehab or any of this type of stuff. We just trying to heal ourselves on our own, working off an island by ourselves. And I tell you, working off an island by yourself, if you do it, it's tough. But most of the time, you can't make it without the next person. You can't make it without the next person. It takes all of us. It takes that village. It takes that village to be a part of some positive movement and develop a positive community. It just takes all of us. It just takes all of us. Creating new families. Trying to create new families without being hurt. That was something else that I had wrote down. But I mean, even on today, just reading the paper on this morning, this morning, a robbery right here in our community, right in the bank. Went to a bank, and, and the description fits almost everyone, African-American male, 5'10". That kind of locks us in. All of us is our target now. It used to be a time where we wanted to make somebody proud. Our name meant something. If you was a Williams or you was this, it was certain. It might have been, even for a lot of us, it might have been a negative standard, but it was some type of standard that was in place. Thank God for all my people that's out there, that's Williamses, that's doing something positive. Right now, restorative justice type things to restore some of the ills. I thank the Lord for you guys out there, through positive reinforcement through all of us and through God coming into our lives and all of that. That's what helped heal us. And so I thank the Lord for my folks that's out there, that's part of the Williams family, that's doing great things, great jobs, great careers, change their lives around. And it's all about change. It's all about getting better. It ain't about staying where you were at. I remember a guy telling me, he said, Sean, he said, man, we wasn't doing this back in 2002. I'm like, man, it's 2013, 2014. None of us should be doing the same thing we was doing back in 2002 or 1982. You out of style, you out of date. Things, lives start to transform, things start to move forward. And you either keep moving forward or you get left behind. And so that's what disparity's talking about. When some of these people feel like they've been left behind and they hurt, then they start doing desperate stuff. They start running into these banks, and they start, want to take something from the next person. And that's just called desperate people doing desperate things. And that's where that disparity come from. We out here just desperate, not trying to think of something out. What's my repercussions? We got within this community, and that's why I say these community forums and these community events, and the one that we're trying to put together now, a community town hall, to address some of these issues. But right across the street over here, you know, it's 17 juveniles about to get tried as an adult. And for me, that's alarming, you know. For me, that's alarming. But listening to one of the young ladies' statements that deal with some of these youth, you know, young person, you know, they're thinking they've been shooting throughout our community, and then their mindset is, oh, I can get the leg monitor. They don't even understand the type of violence that they have created, this type of stuff they even done. But we're not teaching it. Look, this is what happens if you do this. But if you do this, this is what happens. This is the positive stuff that happens. You know, I go back to our one of the things that we got going on, and I thank the Lord for Champaign City Council, so many of the different businesses that have came together to create summer youth program. And I was just listening on the radio this morning of V103 up in Chicago that Magic Johnson and Mayor Ron Emanuel, they're putting a program together based upon our summer youth program. They're coming up with a summer youth program. I think Magic Johnson and him are putting up $8 million for a summer youth program. But I thank God for our city, you know, because after you've been hurt, you come up with a solution. And we came up with a positive solution for our young people. And so I thank the Lord for our city coming together collectively to face an issue. And so, so with our summer youth program, we identified some of the children out there that was, you know, in desperate need of some assistance, some type of help for the summer. And so we put together the summer youth program. But one of the things that I want us to get back on, that the program was set up to help kids that were, you know, maybe falling behind, was in some of these desperate situations. And so, but the program have changed. It has evolved within the past few years. And what the program does now, it got certain criteria, and quite naturally it should. Certain criteria. You gotta be in school. You gotta have participation. You gotta be. You can't be. I can't think of the word I want to say, but you got to be at school. That's basically what I'm saying. You got to be at school. You got to have a certain grade point average, you know. And so to even be qualified for the program, you know. And so that excludes another group of kids. So what that group of kids is, they don't have anything to do for the summer youth program. And so one of the things that I think that we should do is an alternative program toward the summer youth program to kind of build those children back up. And so I think I got some good feedback from an alternative program for the kids that can't qualify for the summer youth program. And big shouts out to the kids that do qualify, because that means you're taking care of your business and you're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's all we can require, is do what you're supposed to do. Make somebody proud. And so, but for the other kids, you know, and a lot of us we come from different backgrounds. We're all not dealt the same card, so it's a lot of reasons why you're probably not getting up to par. But let somebody know you're not up to par and you're willing to work on it, and let's get you assistance. So I've talked to several people. The University of Illinois, they have a summer athletic program that Terry Elmore and them are working on for about 50 to 60 students, and so that's great. It's our community coming together, gelling together. And I always feel as though we got all the resources we need right here in this community. We just got to share it. We got to work together, because we have the resources throughout this community. But nothing comes without love, without us putting some love into it. Because when you say love, that's where your heart's at. And when your heart into it, you're going to throw out a little extra. And that's what we need, a little extra. Big shouts out to Preston, that's on Urbana Police Department. I was able to talk to his dad one day in the barbershop, and his dad's down in Southern Illinois, I think, and he developed a program called Hug a Thug, and he was so excited about his program, and we talked about it, and we even reiterated after I seen him a little bit later on, how's the program going, and just a great senior guy that cared about his community, and his program's going well. You know, I mean, because everybody needs somebody to love on them. You know, everybody needs a second chance. You know, somebody, you know, when we were at today, if we hadn't got some forgiveness for maybe some of the things that we've done in our past. And so everybody got a past, whether if you want to acknowledge or not. Sometimes we look over our past and we don't even want to do the man in the mirror and even look at it because it was so terrible. We were so out of control, you know. So when we get to our newfound place or our newfound belief, we don't want to look back on all those years that, you know, you didn't do the right thing. So some of us can see ourselves in these young people. You know, the BOT program that we had, the Brothers Let's Talk, the Sisters Let's Talk, that we had in my barbershop years ago, that my brother Hub helped us start, and some other people throughout the community helped us with. And so, and it was a great program. But one of the things that we was able to identify through that program was hurt people, hurt other people. But hurt people can help heal other hurt people by their own testimony, by just letting people speak. You know, we let the young people, and we had brothers, and that's the one thing about it that I don't like about our systems, because we don't allow the people that's been through these same situations to be able to share their story with other people that are going through their situations. So we lock them out of the schools. We lock them out of a lot of government-funded programs, you know. And so as we got these brothers together that's been to prison, that's been on drugs, that's been drug dealers, that tried to do it the wrong way, the wrong way, and now they're trying to do it the right way. They're raising families, you know. They're dealing with their kids. They're spending time with their kids, their sons, their daughters now. So they're able to sit back in the barbershop. And we started out with that program, and I think we had maybe 6 to 10 kids the first week or so we started it. And as those brothers went around the neighborhood, and they were just telling brothers that were standing on corners, hey, you guys need to go to the barbershop. You need to go to the Whip. They got something for you over there Sunday afternoon. And big shouts out to my buddy Antoine Neely. He bought pizzas, and Reggie Jones, and they bought pizzas before. And people always go when you say some food. And so the kids kind of came over and they centered around, and we had our chairs lined up. Just got a bunch of chairs and lined them up in the barbershop and had everybody sit down and just had them stand up. And we called it check-in. You know, check-in. You know, state your name, state what you know, where you're from, you know, whether Champaign or Urbana, you know, are you in school, are you not in school, you know, what's going on with yourself? And I remember a young man's testimony, just keeping it real. You know, he just let the truth be told, you know. Hey man, I don't know what I'm doing out here, you know, I ain't in school, you know, and my dad ain't never been in my life, you know, and my mama, she didn't let me down, you know. A lot of these young kids been hurt by adults and people that were supposed to love on them right there in the family household that created them, and they didn't hurt them. That's where the hurt started at right there. And then we went to a program that was a temporary program that showed us a little love, and then the program was gone. Now we hurt all over again because some other adult didn't hurt us again. And so as that young man told his story, I seen one of the older guys starting to cry. And I looked over at it, and it was a powerful moment because he seen himself in that young guy. And then that older guy got up and told his story. And he said, man, that's what happened to me. Those things happened to me. But I tell you what struggle I've been through and how I got myself back on the right path. Those are the programs that can help these young people that you see creating all this violence. You got to reach down to the source, man. You got to find out what's going on with the inside and stop looking at them on the outside and touch them in the inside. Because we all been cleaned up on the outside. We all look cleaned up on the outside. I know I go to church, and I go to many church services, and I mean, we break the record for clean, being clean, having the best dress. But a lot of us hurt, even at church, even at a community event. We're going through something. We haven't been healed from the stuff that we went through. So we got an attitude wherever we go. We don't speak to the people that we supposedly love. Back in the day, we knew everybody. We knew, if we didn't know you, we knew somebody that was connected to you. I think my sister Amani, she taught me 3 degrees or 6 degrees of knowing each other. And if Jason didn't know me, then maybe I can go out there and Jake and mention to Jake something or mention to the next person, and then they'll say, oh yeah, I know them. They're off of so-and-so street, and then they did so-and-so, and we kind of, oh, okay, and then that's where we connected at. Because people shop from whom they like. People don't like you, they don't shop. People don't like you, they don't deal with you. People don't like you, you don't get the help. That's just how it go. We got to get out these cubby holes, and we got to be able to share some love if we really want to solve the violence and the disparities that's going on throughout our community. We got to get out there and share it. You might have a great program, but it's right there in your church. You might have a great program, but you got it centered for just the kids that's already successful, that's already on the road and got a vision in their mind to be successful. And there's nothing wrong with creating programs for those kids. But don't say your program is for all kids and it's just for them kids. You know, and a lot of times, I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's the reason why we got SOR officers in the schools. It ain't really for the kids and the violence. It's for the violence that was going on with kids and teachers. I heard that in the meeting. We scared. And I don't blame them, because sometimes I can go into areas where I got businesses that sometimes with all the violence going on and my buddy getting killed this past year right before Christmas, it had me on alarm. It had me scared. I mean, can I trust some of these people? You know, but then I had to think about it. You know, I'm walking by faith, not by sight. You know, God got me, you know, and I deal with these people and I wave at them and I might give them $1 or $2 or a quarter or a good word, you know. So we just got to just roll with that faith, you know, that we're doing the right thing to try to help people out, you know, and that's just the way we got to roll if we really want to be able to help. Because in order to get a blessing, you got to be a blessing. But a lot of us want a blessing right off the bat. It's all about me. What about me? Got to get off that about me. It's about being a blessing in order to get a blessing. Let me say that again. Let me roll that back. You got to be a blessing in order to get a blessing. So that's that give and you shall receive, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Will God give back to you? That's how I roll. You can't get around that no way, no how. We got to stop talking about people and be a blessing. And if you see somebody slipping, it ain't about talking about them. It's about helping them. Hey, what can we do to make you better? But see, a lot of times, even our folks that got stuff, we don't want to see nobody else with nothing. So we talking and bad mouthing, saying lies and telling all kind of construed stuff, passing all type of bad stuff around the community instead of picking each other up. And that's what it's all about, picking each other up, picking up my brother, picking up my sister. You know, I mean, such powerful moments when we looked at Black History Month, if you paid any attention, or, you know, I know toward the beginning of the month, we've seen a lot and heard a lot, and it kind of dwindled down all the way toward the end of the month. But I mean, just to be able to sit back and watch a lot of our own Black history, things we didn't know, people picking each other up, people caring about their community, people caring about the next person, people caring about their families, uncles being uncles, aunties being aunties, passing the torch. And if mom fell short, it was an uncle, it was an auntie, it was a grandmother, it was a grandfather. It was somebody there that was going to catch that slack. But now it's all about me, you know. Man, I ain't got time for all that. I ain't got time for the meeting. I ain't got time for no community. I ain't got time to pay attention to the mayoral's race. My vote don't count. You know, it's all about that. It's all about that. But then when your check's short, or the program that you're counting on is cut out. Oh man, these people tripping. Oh, that was cold-blooded. What we started beginning, that was cold-blooded the way they did that. Well, that's because you didn't show up. That's because you neglected your opportunity to do some corrective behavior when your kid was this young. I remember in my barbershop, and big shouts out to the people that do view this here and let the kids view it. You know, just big shouts out to you. I really appreciate it, because hopefully I say some things that can help your kids and be able to reiterate to them, you know, because I started from nothing. I come from nothing. I come from here walking, you know, and so, and people help me. But, you know, I did the program on this here, and I talked about the sagging of the pants, and I talked about, you know, we don't even use a comb no more. A lot of my kids that come to my barbershop, even to this day right now, you know, they're going by what the basketball players doing, what the rappers doing, you know. So that's who creating this style and this new style form, this new image that they're portraying. And so they don't even want to run a pick through the top. I'm about to pick a guy out the chair, trying to comb his head, you know, and he's saying, ouch, you know, oh man, because that's just the style. And they rub some little brush in their head now to create this nappy look. But I talked about, you know, looking professional and looking good and pulling your pants up and this, that, and other. And I had the lady, she brought 3 boys in to get the haircut, and she looked in there and she saw me. See, she saw me on this television program. She said, oh, come on, y'all, let's go. You know, told the kids, let's go. That's that guy that's on UPTV always talking this, that, and this. And so, and I told the guys, I said, don't worry about it. If she don't want anybody to tell her kids to do right, she don't want a surrogate father or some mentors that's going to be saying something positive to your young people, to tell them to pull their britches up and haircuts. Don't worry about it. We'll probably have to double back on them at a community program or through some juvenile delinquent program or something of that nature. Because my grandmother used to say, it's something up the road from you. It's something up the road for you. And a lot of this stuff has been trained behavior, or we have allowed it to happen. We didn't address it when they were young. So now what you think, you're going to try to tell them something when they're 16, 17 years old and they in the desperate mode? They're not listening. They ain't hearing that. These guys got a mindset, and they feeding off the other 3 or 4 guys that's hurt too, that was raised just like them, or worse. Or worse, that's telling them, man, we can go do this here. We can do that. They're watching these videos. They're watching these PlayStation games. We're adults, we're so busy with our lives and the hustle bustle of life that we don't sit back and pay attention to what these kids watching, what they're listening to, the music that they're listening to. You know, I mean, we know what we grew up on, you know, love and happiness, you know. Well, it ain't love and happiness no more. It's chaos. It's conflict. It's violence. That's in the music. You know, our music was a whole lot different. You know, we wanted to talk about the girl down the street, you know, the family getting together, you know, summertime, just excited about the summer coming. You know, we had, you know, motivated artists back then. Well, the artists, they got some motivation, but it's negative motivation. Their motives ain't pure. It's to derail your people, derail our motivation of prosperity and great living and peace. It's just destroy all that, because people get paid off the dysfunctionality of others. And they creating us where a vicarious lifestyle. We want to live through their success, so-called success. Because a lot of those people, even though they got the cars and the planes and the houses and this, yeah, they got a house, but as I seen on one of my messages on Facebook, it ain't a home. So we're trying to create peaceful homes, a peaceful community. So some things, I was talking to a guy yesterday and I was saying, you know, why when they come up with a lot of these laws and they run them for a couple years and they see it's not working, it's giving negative statistics because we decided to implement this law and it's not working. You know, we decided to take, you know, prayer out of school and that's not working. We decided that, you know, hey, spare the rod, spoil the child, you know, maybe spanking your kids. Well, that ain't working. Why don't we revisit and say, well, look, that didn't work. We did years of that and it's not working. Let's go back to what we started with. Let's go back to some prayer. We might need to go back. And it always behooved me because as I watched the inauguration and as I went to Springfield and watched Carol Lamons get sworn in, they swore everything in off of God, off of, you know, their belief and their commitment toward God. But then these same legislatures and higher up legislatures would take that out the equation when they're implementing laws and things that govern us. I mean, you got to have a line. You got to have a line. You know, as we try to create up in our minds about this violence, you know, that's going on throughout our community. you know, and as I dialogue back with our chief, you know, hey man, you got to do what you got to do because we got to have a community, a safe community. You know, no one wants to live in an unsafe environment. But I know it's going to be tough because that's just what society has brought on to all of us. So it ain't about changing of the chief that made this happen. It's the world that we live in. It's the world that we live in that's bringing all these problems, you know. But in small groups and things that nature, you know, families, you know, we can change it up and we can save, you know, one. We can save two. You know, we can save our young people. But it's going to take a collective group of us all like-minded together to be able to say, hey, we want to do something about this. So I thank the Lord for everybody that's tuned in to us on tonight. And so I just get excited when I get ready to come over and I do this television program, and we're going to bring up some more people to share this moment with me in the future, to do more things like me and Patricia Avery did on last segment, you know. But as we think about other issues that's going on and hot issues that I listen to, even as this morning on 1400 AM, I watch a lot of television on news, and I watch a lot of listen to a lot of talk radio during the day. And as I even listened to it this morning on 1400 on Jim's show, as we talked about schools and where would the new central school be put at. And for me, we're spending too much time on it. I mean, we elected some people that's on that school board to make certain tough decisions for us. And like I told my nephew, get with those people and you guys make the tough decision. I mean, because you allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry, as my old people used to say, to have their input, and we'll be right where we're at, undecided, or where we want to make a decision to put this school. But to me, it doesn't make a difference where the school goes, how big it is, how much money we spend, and all that. If we don't build great people, it don't make a difference. If we don't build great young people that want to go in there and learn, if we don't build up people and parents to go in there and make sure that their kids are getting the proper education and they're getting proper rest, proper meals, proper attention, proper love, to be able to go in there and give some proper respect to the educators that's trying to properly teach them, then we're building up hurting people that's going to hurt that multi-million-dollar project that you guys are working on from the beginning. That's just how it go. If we don't love something, we tear it up. You know, I remember having toys when I was a kid, and I really didn't care for certain toys. And next thing you know, the wheels off, you know, the top off the car. You know, you can't find it. Where's that toy? I don't know. But things great toys that I had and I loved and I knew I wanted, and that was just, I kept them. And I had them for years and years to come. And even some of my friends did the same things. We cherish things we love. Once we develop, my brother Dante Lotz used the word the other day inside of the community meeting, and he said empathy. Once we find some empathy within inside of us to care about the next person, you know, some empathy, you know, just caring about the next person and what they're going through. You know, I see it a lot in these funeral services that I do, you know, being able to just, you know, put yourself in other person's shoes, you know, to be able to just show them some love, you know, in the loss of a loved one, you know, and it just changes the whole environment when you see folks just loving on each other, you know. I would just like to see that continually, you know, just that love being shared, you know, the warm words that just warm us up, not the cold words that I talked about earlier, the slang words that I use. Man, that was so cold, because so many times people like to kick you when you're down. When you're down, they like to kick you, you know, and sometimes we come in a wolf in sheep clothing. I tell some of my brothers that just come out of prison, I said, man, if the guys come up to you and they take you to the liquor store, instead of putting $5 or $10 in your pocket, they don't mean you no good. They don't mean, get straight away from them. Run. Bishop Williams said run. And that's the way it go. You got to run sometimes. Sometimes you can't hang with your old crew. Sometimes you got to let your old crew together because they on old things. We had a program on that. They on old stuff. You trying to get new stuff, you know? So, you know, sometimes you got to get away. It's people, places, and things, which a lot of rehabilitation programs teach. People, places, and things. The people that you associate yourself with every day. The people that you balance your stuff off with every day. The people you tell your dreams to every day. You know, are they receptive? You know, what's their comments? Oh, man, you can't do that. Oh, girl, you can't do that. Get to hating every time you say you got something new and inspiring that you want to do and you want to achieve. You're telling your young people. I listen to stories inside the barbershop of young guys that's athletic, that's trying to, go to another height in athletics. And they tell them, oh, well, man, your jumper ain't this, or your ball handling skills aren't this, or whatever the case might be, And that might be true. That might be true. But, at the same time, if you got a technique or you got some time to give to that young person, or you got a point person that you might be able to say, and a lot of times, it's not what you say, it's really how you say it. Because when you say things out of love, it's gonna come out a certain way. But when you say it from hatred, you say it from envy, you saying it, because you despise them or you're jealous of them, it's gonna come out a certain way. Because a lot of times we want to see ourselves in the next person's shoes. And we don't know what it took for them to get in the shoes that they're in, the situation that they're in. But a lot of times all we got to do is ask. Ask. Man, I remember trying to get into some businesses way back in the day. And I miss guys like this here. I went to one guy and I talked to him. But then I know a buddy of his named Mike Mapson. And I went out and I knew he owned few different places out on Route 45. And I just went over there and I was pretty teary-eyed. I was kind of exhausted, and trying to seek out information on how I can get started and things of that nature, and was pretty, pretty let down. I felt pretty let down. I felt gloom and doom, toward my dreams, my aspirations of what I wanted to do. And I ran into an inspirational old guy named Mike Mapson. And man, he sat down and talked to me inside the Malibu. It was dark in there, and he cut on a couple lights, and and he sat and he talked to me for about 4 hours about business and about what he had went through in business. And I listened to that old timer story. It created a great friendship until he passed away. And so I was so proud to meet somebody that was an inspiration to me, and so many others that have been inspirational to me. In business and trying to do. And when I get into my place of gloom and doom, because not every day is going to be a great day. When we look at what's the violence that's going on, and you care about community, like I care about community. When I look at the things that are going on with even funeral homes and just shopping locally and all that type of stuff, not with just me, anybody in town. Keeping our dollars, right in our own community, it'd be gloom and doom. It frustrates me. When I look at how our young people are being treated or things of that nature, the hurting people, the disparities that's going on, gloom and doom a little bit for me, But then when I run into somebody inspirational, like my cousin Hen the other day, and he said, Sean, I remember when you was here, and you've been working on this here, and you're constantly doing this, and you constantly doing that. Been an inspiration for me to be a better man. And that's all what it's all about. Helping somebody be a better man, a better woman, a better young child, a better person, a better community. And I think we all got that responsibility. It's not just one person. It's a collective effort from everyone. So I thank the Lord for this television program. I thank the Lord for UPTV. I thank the Lord for Jason taking the time out this afternoon to tape this night program for us. You can always get in touch with me. Just hit me up, Facebook or something, Seon Williams, or something like that. We'll run through credits at the end. But you can always get up with me if you need any assistance on anything, and just let me know. And to all my people out there, let the truth be told.